Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Oh My Gosh, You're Glowing podcast. My name is Lindsey Walker. I am your host for this podcast. I'm here with you today. We are back and it is 2025. Can you believe it? Like, what happened? Where did 2024 go? Time is just moving so much faster. And it's also, right now, as I'm recording, it's the 6th of January, 2025. And I've been telling so many people this today. I feel like I've lived 9 lives, maybe more, in 2025 already in these first few days. We haven't even been here for a week. It's kind of crazy, kind of wild. And so, if you're feeling that too, know that you're not alone. Time is just speeding up so much faster, but that doesn't mean we have to think of it in, oh my gosh, there's not enough time and to think of it in this scarcity way. It just means that this is really an opportunity for us to slow down within ourselves so that as time is speeding up around us, we're not chasing after it and having that really frantic energy. So, as I come back to you in 2025 with this very new energy, and not in the new energy where people are seeing the calendar as this flip of a switch and we have to have all these new year's resolutions and get all this energy and just become this like, what is the analogy I'm looking for? This rabbit or this bunny that's just like running down the road at hyper speed. No, we don't need to do that because also guess what? It's the dead of winter. It's literally still January. Here where I'm at, it was like 80 degrees yesterday. Now it's 20 or 30 degrees. This cold front came in. We're still in winter. So we can absolutely reflect back and look at 2024 and really turn the page to this new year. Numerology definitely has us in a new energy, a new frequency. For the collective, it is now a year 9, which is a lot of endings and beginnings. We're completing this 9-year cycle, which I am actually starting my year 1 in 2025. And I actually just came out of a year 9. So it's really interesting. I'm always one step ahead of the collective. It's a very fascinating energy to be in. And so, really, with the collective, we're finishing up this cycle, this 9-year cycle. So, we can finish up this cycle, finish up this energy, and also still be in the winter energy, this winter interreflection, this inner time for us to go within ourselves and not feel like we have to run, and rush around and make 500 New Year's resolutions that aren't going to stick anyways, because this might be a new concept to you, maybe not. I hear about it a lot in my communities and people I'm connected with. But if you're unfamiliar with the fact that the astrological new year starts in March, that might be why you're not feeling so gung ho about the new year. And I have actually taken a very different approach to starting the new year, more so than I ever have before, because I've been feeling this energy so heavily. So I don't know if it's because I was ending a year 9, going into a year 1, and there's just so much reflection wrapping up of a cycle, or just because I'm starting to realize I really just don't want to start off on a sprint on January 1st. Either way, coming off that energy of a year 9, and since the collective is going into that energy, I highly recommend taking note of this new way or a different way of approaching the new year. So I've really been just slowing down, being more present. That's been my word for the last couple months, is being more present with myself, being more present with just my life in general, what's going on around me, the people, the moments, just this deeper level of presence and groundedness than I've ever really had. And there's been some tools that have definitely been helping me along the way, which I will share later, maybe not in this episode, different time. Look forward for that. But this time of reflection and introspection has been really helpful for me to just look at, okay, what has happened? Like, take a bird's eye view of my life, specifically of the past year of 2024, but you can do this with any time that you're feeling called to do it. Because sometimes when we're in the moment of experiencing life, we can be present, but we maybe don't see all the pieces and all the aspects of it. And that's fine. I don't think we need a bird's eye view all day long with our lives all the time. But once a time frame has really taken place, it's happened, whether that's for you a week, a month, or a year, or even a decade, a 9-year cycle, whatever it is for you, there's really this golden opportunity to go back and take a bird's eye view, reflect, and look at it from a new angle, and not in a criticizing way, not in a, oh my gosh, I didn't accomplish anything that I wanted to, or I didn't accomplish what I was going after for my goals. Or looking at it from this lack perspective, that's not what I'm talking about. It's more about looking at it from what happened, what did I not see in that moment? Where are the patterns that I didn't see at the time that now have been amplified as I look back? And how can you actually see that time frame happening for you so that you can move forward? What are the things that you want to amplify and continue doing moving forward? And what are the things that you actually want to shift a little bit and do differently? So that's been the energy that I've been in for really the past couple weeks. I think since Christmas, that has been kind of where I've been hanging out. And there was something that happened over Christmas, and when I was in it, it was one of those moments where I was like, this is a lesson. This is a really good lesson. Not only is this a really good lesson, this is gonna have to be shared on the podcast. And actually, when I was in the moment, I've never been so present to a moment where I was like, there's two directions I could choose. I could go down option A, which is me staying exactly the same and creating the life and the patterns and the energy that I don't love and that's being illuminated to me. Or I can choose option B, which is really uncomfortable, which is really sticky, which is really new to me, but I'm asking for this opportunity to be this person. And never in my life, or not that I can remember, have I ever been in the moment of a decision with this opportunity so plain and clear for me to see. And I was like, I know which direction I choose. It's going to shift who I am. And when you hear what I'm talking about, you're going to be like, what the fuck? And I say that because it's one of the most ridiculous experiences and examples, but the energy of it had so much to it. It was just this energetic ball of opportunity in the most ridiculous life scenario. And so, with all of this reflection, with all of this new energy, as we're stepping into a new year of 2025, and you're probably thinking, like, you know what, you can still be in that new year, new energy feeling, but maybe not that let's run a marathon feeling. Now, I know there's people who run marathons in January, so it's kind of like a funny pun, but okay, you get my drift, right? There's still this opportunity for shifting, even though March is really spring for us to spring into action. Maybe this is just turning a new leaf, but not springing, right? Okay, so Christmas Eve, let's take you back. I got a story for you, and I'm like laughing on the inside because it's so freaking funny. And also, I asked for it. Like, I totally asked for it. And I feel like if you're called to this episode and you're listening and you're like, what is she even talking about? There is something here for you. There's always something here for you. But the amount of like ridiculousness that is in the story, just wait, just wait. So let's take you back to the morning of Christmas Eve. Now, Christmas Eve, I was, taking it slow. I had volunteered to do a lot of cooking and providing food for the family, for my husband's family that we were spending Christmas with this year, because honestly, that was something that really brings me joy, providing food. I love really good food. Like, that is just one of my loves in life. And I love making food, bringing food for other people. That's fun to me. Like, I love making desserts, all the things. Now, there's probably an opportunity for maybe not overcommitting quite so much. I tend to also love to overcommit, and I tend to think I have all this time. And then somewhere along the way, the time just disappears and I wonder where it went. It's probably because I overcommitted. So there was, I will admit, a minor level of stress happening. It wasn't like I was about to lose it, but there was certainly like this like underlying energy of stress of the day that I was trying to cover up and not look at. So actually, as I'm thinking about this, it actually started the day before Christmas Eve. The day before Christmas Eve, we were in the kitchen making breakfast. And this has been happening for a while. Our toaster oven, I love a good toaster oven because I don't use a microwave. I refuse. There's EMFs and all kinds of crap. It basically fries your brain. That's my personal observation and opinion. Take it or leave it. And so we have a toaster oven that we use to heat up a lot of things. So we don't have to turn on the microwave. Also, I feel like microwaves make your stuff like gross tasting anyways, that's beyond the point. So we're using the toaster. The toaster's been kind of like on and off for a while now. The actual toast function was like so broken that we would have to stand there and like hold the dial on toast. And it was just like, I think it was like having to catch one of the wires in the background. So if you wanted to use the toast option on our toaster, which is, I know, ridiculous, right? You had to like hold it there while it was going and toasting because it wouldn't hold it itself. So every time, like, my husband would be making something and I'd be toasting the bread and I'd just be holding it there. I don't know, like, okay, that was the strangest thing. If this is like a weird cut in the middle of the episode, it's because my screen just totally froze and the little thumbs up arrow came up, which if you heard me say, I don't use Zoom, I just use a QuickTime player to record this. So I didn't even know that could happen. So here we are. I also do this very real, raw, and unedited. So you know what? You're gonna just see it all, right? Like we're not here to. I'm releasing my perfectionism in this way, and this is the experience. Okay. All right. So the toaster, right? Like the toaster is really not toasting. You have to stand there and hold it. It's not a huge deal, but it's kind of annoying at this point. And it's been going on for weeks, maybe months. And then it starts to happen with the bake. So we have like a bake dial too, and we usually use bake and toast the most often. So now it's starting to happen with bake and the bake is starting to go. And my husband's like, "Oh my gosh, we just need a new toaster." And I was like, "No, I love this toaster. Like we don't need a new one. Like it's fine. Like it'll be fine. Like we can just hold it. It's not a big deal." Well, I think it's like December 23rd, the day before Christmas Eve, and he's finally like, "I'm over this toaster. Like I don't want it here anymore. It doesn't work. Like this is ridiculous. This is such a waste of time. We have to stand here and hold the dial." And I'm like, "Whatever. It's not a big deal, but like if you want to get a new toaster, go for it." And so he's looking up toasters and he's like, "Yeah, I think this is the one we have." Because I was like, "I really like this one. Can't we just get the same one?" Like, I don't want a new one. And he's like, "Yeah, I think I found this one." And I kind of like briefly looked at it and I was like, "Oh, maybe they changed the silver." It was like a black silver or black stainless steel that we have. And it looked a little bit lighter, but I was like, "Whatever, it's fine. Like, I'm sure it's fine. It just looks different on the photos." I was like, "Oh, maybe they changed it. It's out of date from a couple years ago." And I remember thinking, I was like, I could totally go and research the shit out of this right now and research all these toasters and say, this has to be the one and like totally take over and control this whole toaster situation. I had that thought. And then I thought, you know what? This is an amazing opportunity for me to release control, be in my feminine, receive, and just walk away, not care about the situation, not get involved. He wants to buy this new toaster. That's amazing. You want to buy me a new toaster? Go ahead. That is great. Like you take over. You take over control and just take over the situation. I was like, okay, yeah, this is an amazing opportunity for me right now. This is what I'm saying. Take note of my comments in my head. So I purposefully make sure not to go research. I just like put it out of my head. He's like, "Okay, I'm going to order the toaster. It's going to be here tomorrow." I'm like, "Great, cool, awesome." So we wake up Christmas Eve and it's just like a slow morning. I completely forgot about the toaster, like not even on my radar. I like did not care. Went about my day, was getting ready, all the things, was getting ready to, I think I was making some brownies that morning, was just getting ready to cook, just probably wrapping gifts at the last minute, let's be honest, and just really easing into my day. And he said something, he's like gets up and was like really excited, was like delivered that morning, goes downstairs, unpacks and sets up the entire toaster. Mind you, I had forgotten about this entire thing. 24 hours went by and I was like, whatever. And he calls down to me. He's like, "Hey, like come look at it." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Okay. So I walk downstairs, literally walk down the stairs and our kitchen is right down the bottom of our stairs. And the toaster's sitting on the counter. He's like, "Look, I unpacked it. It's all set up. Like, what do you think?" And I take one look at the toaster and I think my face just said it all immediately. And he was like, "Oh my God, you hate it." And I was like, "Yeah, I kind of do. Like, I sort of hate it." And it was like, okay, from my perspective, I walk down the stairs and I look at this toaster and all the thoughts in my head are like, this is the ugliest effing toaster I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay, you're probably thinking like, I don't know, you bitch, like it's a toaster. Why the hell do you care? I think it was just I was already energetically kind of it was like on that tipping point, and I guess the toaster did it. I got triggered by a toaster Really, this is what happened. And all these thoughts came running through my head. Why did I just release control? Why did I let this happen? Why, blah, 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 why? Okay, all these things are happening in my head. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Then I'm sitting there and then all these other thoughts come over me thinking like, okay, my husband is like the most caring, genuine, nicest human being on planet Earth. He rush ordered a toaster. Mind you, it's the exact same one. It's just a different color. It's like regular stainless steel instead of black stainless steel. And he rush ordered this toaster so we could have a working appliance. And I'm mad about the color. Like, there's something fucked up about that. Now, granted, at that moment, he's like, I know you hate it. I can see it on your face. He's like, you can't even hide it. And I was like, oh God, I can't. So I sat there staring at the toaster as I see his face, just like, I thought that you would love it. And I was like, wow, I just felt like a terrible human being. Like this man just did this incredible thing. Like, this is what I wanted in a man to just like take care of me and do all these things and just like not even question it. And yet he did the exact thing. And then I got mad. I was like, what is happening? And I remember standing there staring at this toaster. And I remember thinking, okay, what did I tell myself yesterday? I wanted to lean into my feminine, release control, and let him just take over the situation. And I purposely didn't research anything. And I purposely just let it go. I think I ran upstairs at that point, researched real quick just to be like, do they have the one that I really wanted? And then, of course, I found it. And I was like, oh, if I would have done this yesterday, I would have found it. And of course, that made me more upset. And then I was like, I probably shouldn't say this to him. But then I did because I was just like at that point really amping up my frustration and annoyance. And as I sat there and I just felt this like I was just stirring the pot energy. I was just making it worse. And I sat there staring at this toaster. And it wasn't, at the time, it was a toaster. I just felt all of this anger and frustration like boiling inside my body. It was like sitting on my chest, about to come out like my throat. It was like here. And I sat there staring at this toaster and my husband, and he's like, you know what? If you don't want this thing, like I'll return it. You can tell me the exact one that you want. I'll order it. I'll like pack this whole thing up, all the things. And I was just like, oh my God, not only do I have a husband who orders a brand new toaster overnight, sets it up, takes it out, sets it up, does all the things. Now he sees that I don't like it and is offering to pack it back up, ship it back, and order the exact color that I wanted. And I was like, he's like, I know you're not happy. Like, let's get a new one. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is a toaster. It is a perfectly great working toaster. But at the moment, all I could see was the ugliest effing toaster I've ever seen in my entire life. I was so mad at it. I was so mad at it. And when I looked at that toaster, if I like bring myself back to that moment, if you're listening to this, you're like, this is the most ridiculous story I've ever heard. I told you it was ridiculous. I knew in the moment how this was all going. I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever experienced, ever thought of, ever had happen. And I knew in that moment, I am asking for lessons and experiences in life for me to release control, for me to be more in my feminine and receive. And life gave me that lesson on a silver fucking platter. And I was so mad, so mad. So I remember deciding in that moment, I have two paths. I can be really upset, pissed off, make him return this toaster, and stay in this I get my way every single time energy, even though I wanted to release control and just be in this like, I don't know what kind of energy this was, but just this like even more controlling energy. Or I could choose to shift and I could choose to become the person who does actually release control, does allow someone else to take care of her in moments like this. But it wasn't going to happen with a snap of a finger. And I knew that. So I looked at it and I was like, you know what? I just need to go upstairs. I will be back. And I went upstairs and I closed my door and I came into this office and I put on some music and I just cried. Like, I told my mom the story. She's like, "What'd you do? Anything fancy?" I just sat on the floor and sobbed my eyes out because there was so much energy. There was so much frustration. I could just feel it pulsating throughout my body. And I was like, there's no decision that can be made from here that's going to be a helpful decision from the place that I'm sitting at right now. There's nothing that can go good from here. And I just came upstairs, started with a good old-fashioned cry, and just was moving my body, had my music. I had the headphones in, so I, like, couldn't hear anything else. And I think I was probably up here for somewhere between 30 to 50 minutes or so, just, like, crying, moving my body, moving the energy out because I knew I was gonna either blow up on him or maybe someone else throughout the day if I didn't move it out. So, well, yes, the toaster in this particular scenario is what really brought this energy to light. It was not the toaster that was the problem, nor was it my husband that was the problem. And that was I really wanted to make sure I wasn't projecting any of this on him, and I think that's probably what has happened in the past where, I make him feel wrong for doing these wonderful, amazing things because it triggered me or activated something within me that was my own issue, my own thing I needed to work through. And yet, if I got upset about it, I would just project it onto him, which isn't fair to anyone. So I made a very conscious decision in that moment to just I knew I had so many things to do that day. I knew I had to cook, I had to wrap gifts, I had to just do all these things that I wanted to do, but I didn't necessarily have time to go sit and cry for like an hour. But I knew if I didn't, I would be a very different person that day. And it was not going to be a person that I liked. It wasn't going to be a person that anyone else wanted to be around. And it very much could have just been me projecting my anger and frustration onto other people. So I came up here, moved, cried, danced, journaled, all the things, and just got it out of my body for as long as it took. For absolutely as long as it took. And until I actually felt like that energy had moved through and out of my body, that's when I decided I was done. Finally, that is when I decided, okay, I don't feel this like lump in my throat, this heaviness on my chest anymore. And I let it go. And I kid you not, after all of that, I came back downstairs. I walked down those stairs to the same spot I walked down at the first time before, and I looked at that toaster and I was like, that is the most beautiful toaster I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not making this up. I am truly not making this up. And it was the most wild thing that's ever happened. I mean, maybe not, it's a toaster, right? But I saw it from a different perspective. Like, I truly saw that toaster from a different lens. It's like someone gave me different glasses. It was the same thing. Nobody had touched it. It hadn't moved. Nothing was different about it. But all of a sudden, I came back down and all of that energy that had been clouding and creating this just tense hostility, frustration, and anger, it was no longer on my body anymore. It was gone. And I saw this through the lens of one that is so beautiful. It is shining. It is brighter than the one we had before. For whatever reason, I think we are supposed to have this one. And not only that, this is a wonderful opportunity for my husband to just give and gift to our family, to us. And here I am able to receive. And I really, really felt that in that moment. I was not making it up because if you know me very well, I can't fake anything. Clearly, I walked down the stairs and he's like, I know exactly what you're thinking. I was like, ah, shit. How'd you know? He's like, your face. Okay, if you're watching this on camera, I have lots of facial expressions on video. And yeah, I can't hide anything. So I really, truly felt so much more gratitude for what actually transpired and what actually happened after I let myself move through it. And I remember thinking, like, do I really want to be that person who complains about everything if it's not exactly perfectly right? No. Have I been that person in my life? Yeah, a lot. And I'm asking to change. I'm asking to shift into being a different version of myself. That opportunity got handed to me to prove it to myself, to actually be a different person. And I got triggered so fucking bad from an effing toaster. But what I was really proud of in that moment was that I took the opportunity to stop, to really recognize what was going on, and to make a different decision. Now, was any of this easy? No, it was so fucking uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. Like, this is not my idea of a comfortable situation from start to finish. It's Christmas Eve. I got a lot of list of things to do. There's so many things I want to cook and do and just be so prepared and like ready to go and have this quote unquote perfect day. And I start in a ball of tears. But do you know, I had truly, truly the best day after that. And it was because I chose to make a different decision. It was because I chose to actually move through the energy and the emotions and the things that I was feeling instead of letting it dictate and take over my body. I asked for that. I 100% asked for that. And because it was so uncomfortable for me, I wasn't used to moving that way. I wasn't used to feeling that way. I wasn't used to what I was experiencing. So while it was incredibly uncomfortable, I have never felt so much gratitude in a moment for how I allowed myself and led myself through that, but also how I felt on the other side. And emotions are so important, yet not important at all. And I say this because we are not our emotions, but they are meant to be felt, and they are teachers when they come in, when we're activated, when we're triggered, when these things come over us that are really uncomfortable to be felt. But it's our job to actually allow ourselves to move through them. So for me, coming upstairs and having this hysterical cry, and for me to just like let it out, maybe someone thinks that's ridiculous. What I think is ridiculous is holding that energy in my entire body and carrying it with me all day long for me to just project my own shit onto everyone else. That's ridiculous. And holding onto that energy, those unfelt emotions, that heavy energy that you've invited in that you really never fucking dealt with, those are the things that creates chronic health issues and symptoms that nobody knows what's going on and you can't explain it and you can't describe what happened. You just didn't allow yourself to move through life. That's why moving through emotions and feeling your own shit is so important, amongst many other things. But that is one of the most important reasons why I knew in that moment, if I want to be an embodied version of myself, if I want to be an embodied businesswoman, spiritual entrepreneur, intuitive health coach, whatever the heck I call myself. I got like 50 titles at this point because I change it every week. Anyways, if I wanted to be an embodied woman of my own work, and I knew I asked for this shift, and I knew I asked to have this experience in my life, I had to actually make a different choice that felt uncomfortable. In one of the moments that I was like, no, I don't want that. Nobody asks for these moments. Nobody asks for these lessons on Christmas Eve, on someone's birthday, on a day of a big event. You're like, can I just get these lessons on a day where like nothing's really going on? Yeah, that's not how it works. Sorry, that's not how it works. Life's like, yeah, that's really great. But we're actually going to give you these moments and these lessons and these experiences when the energy is there. When you're triggered as fuck by a stainless steel toaster. Yeah, that's when it's going to happen. It's not going to happen in these perfect little tied up bow box moments where it's a Tuesday. I'm not really doing anything. Would you like to bring me some lessons? Fuck no. But you have to decide in that moment. You're like, I had to decide in that moment, oh my gosh, this is happening. Oh my gosh, I need to make a choice. Do I stay in the lane that I've been in all my life? Or do I actually use this opportunity to change and shift? So I share this with you. If there are any nuggets that came out of this, any aha moments, any just chills of any kind that you feel in your body are a spirit recognition for your body. That is energetic resonance. That is a message from your spirit guide saying like, hey, pay attention to that. So if there's any of that that you got from this, really take note of that. There's a message here There's different messages here for different people. And I just knew as soon as it was happening, one, I wanted to lead myself through it, how I would guide other people through it, how to actually shift. And also, I knew I was like, this has to be shared. There's something in it that was so charged in the most ridiculous way that it had to be shared. So that was my Christmas. And truly, like, I really, really enjoyed the rest of the day, the rest of the evening, because I was not carrying my own shit. I let it go. And when you are not carrying your own garbage, if you're not taking out your own trash, you're actually going to feel even more like yourself. You're going to be able to enjoy the moment, hold space for other people, really be open to other people, and not just be on the edge of the fence where you're about to tip over and just like explode. But you have to take care of yourself first. You have to be really mindful of yourself first, which means being really conscious in these moments and taking yourself aside if that is what is required. I had to make the decision to be like, hey, I gotta go upstairs. I'll be back. But if I didn't, you don't know what else can transpire from that triggering. Triggers and activations are really invitations for you to go deeper, but they're invitations. You can take them or leave them, right? This was an invitation that I'm so happy I took, but I could have easily left it. So this is a reminder for you to take the invitations that are there for you, even when they are so fucking uncomfortable. It's like the last thing you want to be doing. So this has been just like a story on my mind for the past couple of weeks. And I was like, you know what? I have got to start out with 2025 sharing this one because it is one of the most ridiculous stories and also has so many jam-packed lessons. I've never seen an appliance like a toaster have so many lessons, so many energetic layers to it. You can find lessons in life in unconventional places. Truly. You don't even have to be looking for them. You just have to have your eyes open wide to receive, to be open to them. And that's my invitation for you. So I hope you got a lot from this episode. And if you, like I said at the beginning, if you're called to listen to it, there was totally a reason. And I'm just so excited to share this with you because I know it's going to help so many of you move through and illuminate things that maybe have been a little bit in the dark and give you that permission and power to move through it and to feel all the things so that you don't have all of these emotions and energy just piling on top of you. And then you're wondering why you have all these chronic illnesses or all these labels, all these symptoms, all these things that feel like they're inexplainable. Start with moving through them and letting them go. So, also, if you are feeling called to work with me, if you are listening to this episode, it is the beginning of January 2025. January, it's always a great time to work together if you're feeling called. But right now, I am offering a few extra little bonuses. And if you have been around in my world, if you've ever seen any of my stories about going to the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, I shared on my stories a couple days ago that I just bought my tickets and I'm going back. If you've been following my Soul Plan Wellness account, you've seen the highlights from the last couple years. You can go back. I did save them. It's been a really, really fun time. And I always share kind of just like everything that's happening there. It's just kind of a world in its own. So I definitely plan on sharing it this year. It will be shared on my I Am Lindsey Walker account on Instagram. That is the one that I'm using as my main account now. So look for that. But I am going to the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show this year at the end of January. And if you have ever had a session with me, you know that I always muscle test you for a specific stone or crystal in your session. And that is really to amplify the frequency of healing in your session with the energy work that we're doing, with the intuitive coaching, all of the things. And I pick very intuitively. I choose the crystals intuitively to use in your session. So it's not like I'm looking at a book and saying, oh, well, this is what this person is coming to me for. Like, let me pick out this crystal for them. It is through muscle testing or some kind of intuitive guidance to it. And so I have a bunch of different crystals on my desk. I have some on the wall here, and I'll just use whichever one. And really, the intention is just to send that energy and that healing frequency to you for you to receive as an addition to the energy work and to the healing that I guide you through in the session. So that's really a lot of the reason why I go to the gem show, to really just up my crystal and stone collection to continue using with all of my clients to really give you that protection. And these stones and crystals actually resonate with people so much that a lot of the times I will always tell you what stone that you resonate with in your session so that you know. But a lot of the times people resonate with them so much, they're like, I have to go find that. I have to go buy that myself because there's just something about it. There's a message that's even deeper. So there's, yes, the energy and the frequency that is offered to you in the session, but there's also the underlying message that really comes with that stone, what that stone represents, the healing powers that it has. And there's always like an underlying message that the stone brings. So, because I love stones and crystals and the frequency and healing powers that they have, and I know that they resonate with my clients so much, I also love being a very personal crystal shopper. Like, truly, that is one of my favorite things to do. And my mom is an incredible stone medicine woman, and she has taught me a lot about stones and crystals as well. And we actually really know a lot of the very high quality crystal vendors at the Tucson Gem Show. And she's been going for many years. She's brought me around as well. We always make sure to find non-heat treated, high quality, like true healing stones that you would have to fly all over the world to find. It is like there is a difference between run of the mill and high quality, I can tell you. And there is differences in different vendors. And because we've been going for so long, we have actually made relationships with these people, which is why we go back to certain places and to certain people to have these experiences and to support them and to buy from their crystals, from their stones. So, if you are being called to work with me in the month of January, I am offering the most incredible little bonus just as a fun opportunity because I am going. And if you book a alignment activation session, which is my one-off one-on-one, it's the 60-minute session, then not only are you going to receive the healing energy and the frequency from the stone remotely, because all of my sessions are over Zoom, over virtual, not only are you going to receive that virtually, but I am also going to become your personal crystal and stone shopper at the Gem Show because I am gifting you for free a healing crystal or stone that is 100% high quality, non-heat treated, and perfectly picked out for you. It's going to be up to $100 value, and I am going to send it to you in the month of February after I visit the Gem Show. So this is just a really fun and exciting little bonus that I wanted to gift my new clients coming in the door. And I also am going to extend it to any new coaching clients as well. So if you're also feeling the pull to sign with me for a longer time, I have both 3 and 6 month containers for the Ascend one-on-one multidimensional health coaching packages. That also qualifies as well. It is going to be most likely a little bit higher value of crystal, or I might just give you a bundle. We'll see how it goes depending on what I'm really feeling called to do. But if you are really being called to work with me and you're really not sure where to start, if you want just a little bit of a taster, the one-on-one alignment activation session is 100% where I would start. If you really just want to get a feel for what working with me would be like, that is a great place to start. Now, my work really is not just a fix it, one and done. It really is this deep inner work that works with you as we go along. But I like to offer that one-off session for you to come in to see like, okay, do I really want to continue working together or not? And so that one-off session can be a great place for you to start. If you're like, I already know I want to work with you, 2025 is the year to really get serious about my life and my health. And we do root cause healing, but we also do intuitive health coaching, intuition development. It is a full package deal because your health is not only just your health. We don't just put your health in a box. Your health and your life and your relationships and your career is all connected together. Just how I see the body all connected. It's not like your foot is disconnected from your mouth, right? Everything is all connected. Well, your entire life is all connected together. So we make sure to bring in every aspect. And that's why it's not just that one and done session. That one session is really to get you to experience the magic of the work. But then it's really to go so much deeper, which is why those 3 and 6 month commitments are so crucial. So, if you have been considering working together at all, this is absolutely the time to get in just so you can get that extra little magical gift in the mail. And I'm seriously so excited to offer this, to be offering this, to be able to go and be your personal crystal shopper. Like, this is so much fun. I did it for a couple of clients last year and recently just got the nudge to do this and to offer this. And I'm truly so excited to be gifting this to you. So, I will drop some links in the show notes below. If you are looking to apply for the Ascend one-on-one health coaching, definitely just flirt with the application. There's no commitment for filling out the application, but just play with what it would feel like to feel this support, to really get into this space, into this container for yourself. And if you have any questions at all, please let me know. You can send me a DM at I am Lindsey Walker on Instagram, and we can absolutely chat to make sure that you get the support that you are looking for this year. Thank you so much for listening and for being part of this podcast. If no one's told you today, you are an absolute glowing goddess, and I love you so much, and I cannot wait for the next one. See you then.